Brian of Banba all alone, up from the desert places, came to stand where the festal throne of the Lord of Thoman's races. Came after tarrying long away, till his cheeks were hunger hollow, his voice grown hoarse in 1,000 fights, where he called on his men to follow. He had pillowed his head on the hard tree roots, and slept in the sun unshaded, till the gold that had shone in his curls was gone, and the snow of his brow was faded. And where he came he was meanliest clad, midst the nobles of the nation, yet proudly he entered among them all, for this was his brother's banquet hall. And he was a Prince Dalcassian, Mahon, king of the clan Dalcas, throned in his palace proudly, drank the mead from a costly glass, whilst his poet harping loudly traced in song his lineage long to the times of ancient story, and praised the prowess of Senedai's sons, and counted their deeds of glory, and chanted the fame of the chieftains all the banquet board surrounding. But why does he turn to the stranger tall, for whom is his harp now sounding? The king, he says, is a champion bold, and bold is each champion brother. But Brian, the youngest, is bravest and strongest and wiser than any other. The king rose up on his royal throne, and sorrowful was his gazing, and greatly the envy grew in his heart at sound of such high appraising. For Mahon had dwelt in a palace fair, at peace with the land's invader, while Brian lurked in the wildcat's lair, and slept where the she-wolf laid her. Mahon was clad in a robe of silk, a gift of a Dane chief sending. The only cloak that Brian had was torn by the brambles rending. Mahon had called for the mead and wine from the hands of those that tasted, but the thin cold wine that the swan flock sipped was the only wine that Brian's lip for a year and more had tasted. Brian, my brother, said the king, in a tone of scornful wonder, why dost thou come in beggar guise our palace portals under? Where hast thou wandered since yesteryear? On what venture of love hast thou tarried? Tell us the count of thy prey of deer, and what cattle herds thou hast harried. Where is the mantle of silken fold, and the jewel brooch that bound it? In what wager lost was the band of gold that once thy locks surrounded? Where hast thou left the courtly train that befitted thy princely station? The 100 high-born youths I gave, the chosen sons of the chieftains brave, of the warriors Dalcassian. I have hunted no deer since yesteryear, I have harried no neighbor's cattle, I have wooed no love, I have joined no game, save the kingly game of battle. The Danes were my prey by night and day, in their forts of hill and hollow, and I come from the desert lands alone, since none are alive to follow. Some were slain on the plundered plain, and some in the midnight marching. Some were lost in the winter floods, and some by the fever parching. Some have perished by wounds of spears, and some by the shafts of bowmen, and some by hunger, and some by thirst, and all are dead. But they slaughtered first they're tenfold more of their foemen. The king leaped down from his cushioned throne and grasped the hand of his brother. Brian, though youngest, thought bravest and strongest and nobler than any other. So choose at thy will of my flocks on the hill, and take of my treasure golden. Wear it even the ring on my royal hand, or this embroidered cloak I am rolled in. Brian smiled. You will need them all as a ward of bardic measure. I want no cattle from out your herds, no share of your shining treasure. But grant me now. And he turned to look on the listening warriors' faces. 100 more of the clan I'll cast to follow me over plain and pass, to die as fitteth the brave Dalkas, at war with the Oakland races.